I recently challenged myself to live in Spartan mode. That means no social media, no watching movies or shows, none of this entertainment and distraction stuff, and instead train twice a day, practice deep work, eat healthy food, spend time outdoors, meditate, write, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is the ultimate dopamine detox protocol, a radical way to get yourself unhooked from addictive behaviors, rewire your brain, test your will and discipline, and even completely reset your life. I followed the Spartan Mode protocol for 30 days, and here's what happened. Here's what a typical day of Spartan Mode living looks like. I wake up at 7, jump straight out of bed and go take a cold shower. Then I have a glass of water to make sure I stay hydrated. Now it's time to head to the park. Here I do some breathing exercises, I get my morning dose of sunlight, and then it's time for my first training session of the day. In the morning, I train mobility, movement skills, and some animal flow. Now it's time to do my morning writing. I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. I review my notes and lessons from the day before, and then I write down my top priorities and most important goals for today. That concludes my morning routine, and now it's time for my first work session. The question I'm asking myself right now is, what is the most important, highest leverage task I can be working on? I do my best work when I'm completely undistracted and can get into really deep focus. That means no phone, no music, no notifications, no multitasking, no distractions whatsoever. Every morning I do my first work session like this, and I keep it going for at least 90 minutes uninterrupted. After that, I spend some time in meetings and calls and doing other lower leverage work. On a good day, I manage to do 1 or even 2 more of these undistracted 90-minute deep work sessions, but some days get taken over by busy work after the morning session. Now it's 12 and it's time for my first meal of the day, which is always the same thing: a large, super nutritious green smoothie. Then it's back to work. Now it's 3 p.m, time for my second training session. This is my high intensity training session for the day. 4 days of the week I go to the gym to lift weights, and 3 days of the week I train martial arts, either Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai. After training, I get back to work for another couple of hours. I like to have my dinner early, around 6 p.m. is good. I usually cook 1 large batch, and then I have the same meal for the next 2 to 3 days. Now it's evening, and this is the time where I don't follow a super rigid structure anymore. Sometimes I'll meet friends, sometimes I'll go for a long walk, sometimes I'll just read books. Now it's 9:30 and it's time for me to start winding down. I turn off all the bright lights in my apartment and I do my evening writing. I review my day and note down any lessons and things I can improve tomorrow. Then I do some light mobility work followed by meditation. I often also spend more time reading or writing in the evening, depending on my mood. The important part is this is a time for chill, wind down type activities. And whatever I do, I avoid bright lights and screens because those would make my sleep quality worse. Finally, I get ready for bed at about 10:30 so I can be asleep by 11 and get plenty of rest to do it all again tomorrow. So this is what my days looked like for the past 30 days. Note everything that's missing from this daily routine. There's no social media, no YouTube, no movies, no gaming, no distraction, no entertainment, no escapism. And also no sugar, no processed foods, no alcohol, no drugs of any kind. Spartan Mode is basically lots of good habits and plenty of discipline and no bad habits. So what exactly happened to me during 30 days of following the Spartan Mode protocol? Let's break it down and look at how this challenge affected different aspects of my life, starting with my overall mood, mental health, and well-being. Before the challenge, I was feeling a bit down. I just felt a bit off and dissatisfied, and I could feel how I wasn't living up to my potential. When I started the challenge, that immediately changed. It made me feel like,
yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Especially for the first 2 weeks of the challenge, I felt amazing. I was in a great mood, I was in flow, I was working hard and working out hard, and I was loving every minute of it. My days are just absolutely filled with activity, which honestly is the best feeling. Only towards the last part of the challenge that started dipping down a bit again. Next, let's look at work productivity. My productivity was through the roof during this challenge. I find it easier and easier to just stay focused for 90 minutes or even longer at a time. Listen, I'm a fairly productive guy as it is, but this was on another level. I absolutely blasted through my work tasks every day, and for my business, I made more progress in these few weeks than I'd made in months before. It felt great. Unfortunately, the momentum didn't keep up for the whole challenge and it dipped down towards the end. So you can already see a pattern here. Why this dip towards the end of the challenge? This is a good time to be super clear about one thing. this challenge was not easy. Yes, my mood and productivity were amazing, and yes, I'm grateful I did this challenge, but it was a real challenge. And this here was the hardest part for me. So by energy levels, I mean basically, well, how much energy I have and how rested and ready for the day I felt. And at first, this was really good. But over the course of the weeks of this challenge, I started running out of juice. And I think this is mainly because of the daily training sessions with no rest days in between. Day 11, I have to pace myself a little bit. I'm really exhausted. I'm not getting enough rest. Some of these sessions were hard. And during some of these hard sessions, I was still sore from the previous day's hard session.
Improve already, huh? 20.
And with no rest, this kept getting worse and worse, and by the final days of the challenge, I was barely holding on. So I survived the third week. It was tough, and I'm exhausted. It's not gonna be easy to do all of my morning routine today. First, I need a bit more rest. I think this is what affected my productivity and other aspects of my life the most. Towards the end, I was just running out of energy. Okay, what about my social life? Here, I saw some unexpected effects. During the challenge, I spent way more time hanging out with friends, and I even made a whole bunch of new friends, and I kept getting invited to stuff like meetups and events. So last night I got invited out to an event, breathwork and sauna and stuff, and it was really good. Basically, my social life kept improving the entire time, and it was surprising to me because I didn't really make an effort. It felt like this just naturally happened, and I think it's in part because cutting out all of the social media and distractions and stuff made me more available. I had more time on my hands, especially in the evenings, and so I could easily say yes to all kinds of social opportunities. But I think there's also something else going on here. When you live like this, it gives you a different kind of presence. A radical dopamine detox like this and being so much less distracted gives you a different quality of mind, and it makes you more present. And I think people feel that, and they're drawn towards it. Finally, let's also look at physical health. After all, we're doing loads of healthy habits during Spartan Mode. I noticed that I got better and more consistent sleep during this challenge. I also made good strength gains at the gym, and I'm definitely leaner now than I was 30 days ago. I'd say I'm in pretty good shape by the end of this challenge, and a big part for me here is cutting out sugar, because I very easily get addicted to sugar and tend to eat much too much sweet stuff. It's probably my unhealthiest habit. So this is all good, but also let's be real, health is a long-term game. So the graph probably looks something like this. Realistically, no matter what you do in 30 days, you can't expect miracles in terms of your body changing or health changes. And that's especially true if you already go into this challenge as a reasonably fit and healthy person. But still, it's all good, and I definitely noticed positive effects. It's just that this is more about being on a healthy trajectory for the long term.
I just went to the last workout of this challenge. Went to a Muay Thai class, it was super tough. And now I'm in the park and I'm gonna have pizza to celebrate the end of the challenge.
After surviving 30 days of Spartan Mode, here are the two most important lessons I've taken away. Lesson number 1, go hard. It's impossible to do Spartan Mode for 30 days and then go back to the life you're living now. This is simply the fastest way to delete your bad habits, install good habits, and change the course of your life. If right now you're wasting your time with phone addiction, with social media addiction, with porn, with dopamine traps and unhealthy food, and you know that that is affecting your life negatively, this kind of stuff is just going to be done after this challenge. If you feel unsatisfied with your life and you feel bad because you know that you're not living up to your potential, and you know that the way you're living now is not going to get you the results that you want, if you feel like you're letting yourself down and you're being a man-child and you're tired of that, 30 days of Spartan Mode will completely change your life and give you a confidence boost like nothing else. But you have to go all the way. This is the first lesson. When it comes to your addictions, your bad habits, and all the other stuff you're doing that's holding you down, it is much easier to cut them down to 0 than to constantly try to manage them and do a little bit less. Here's what I mean. Like I said, for me, sugar is probably my worst habit, my biggest addiction. And I'm someone who can struggle with trying to not overeat on sugary stuff non-stop. Like every day I think, oh, today I'm gonna do better than yesterday. Today I'm not gonna have any sugar. I'm gonna have less than yesterday or whatever. I'm the kind of guy who I can buy a box of cookies and tell myself I'm gonna have only 1 cookie a day, but 20 minutes later I've gone through the entire damn thing. The point is, it's hard trying to eat less sugar. But you know what's easy? 0 sugar. Just none of it. ever. It's just so much easier to be disciplined when you remove the temptation. You just take that option off the table entirely. And this is true for social media and for porn and for whatever else that you're currently hooked on that's keeping you down and preventing you from reaching your goals. Remove that option from your life and see what happens. Lesson number 2, it's difficult but fun. By now you've probably realized Spartan Mode is a difficult challenge. Some days it's very difficult, but it is also fun and interesting and super satisfying to do. I mean, who would you rather be? Someone who's like,
oh no, this seems too difficult. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna stay in my comfort zone and do what I always do and hope that it somehow will lead to a different result.
Or someone who takes on a challenge like this head on to find out what you're made of. So don't be put off by how intense this challenge is. That's part of the fun. And by the way, if you want to know all the details and rules of Spartan Mode, check out this video that explains it all. So leave a comment below. What are your thoughts on Spartan Mode? And are you ready to try this yourself? As for me, right now, I'm glad the challenge is over because I need some rest. But I also can't wait to do it again.